if you watched the last episode, you would have seen we arrived in Haast after riding across from Woodend on the east coast. And having got there, we realised, well, we had some time up our sleeves before we needed to get organised for dinner. So the idea was sprung, let's go to Jackson Bay, which is the southernmost point on the west coast roading network. So we're relatively close from the motel. It's I think around about 50 k's each way. So not too far distant at all. Let's jump on the bikes and head on out there, see what we can find. One thing about this area of the west coast is that it's very much flat land. We're right alongside of the coast itself, and we're forging our way on down. There's not many people are living down here, so although it is sealed all the way, we're running on tar seal the whole way there. It is a pretty rough road, to be fair, even though it's quite a scenic and really attractive road to ride along. Its beauty does really hide its rather bumpy nature. You can see that from the way the handlebars are banging around as we press on. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about Jackson Bay before we went along there, but I've since found out that a few things. One of which, it's the only sheltered harbour on about a 400 kilometre stretch of coastline from Greymouth all the way down to Milford Sound. Now, it's a pretty wild piece of coastline. It's got the Tasman Sea raging alongside of it there, so have a sheltered harbour, very, very useful. There is a big jetty that juts out, you'll see when we get to Jackson Bay, that's used by various small boats and fishing vessels that are seeking shelter from the storm. Now, if you are planning to do the Haast Jackson Bay road trip yourself, you should. It's really, it's something to tick off the box, because this is the southernmost part of the roading network heading down the west coast. South of here, the mountains kind of stretch or come right closer to the sea, and we stretch into Fiordland with no possibility of putting a roading network through. You will need to make sure you got a tank of gas, that it's good for at least 100 k's, because there is no fuel station, at least not that I'm aware, up at Jackson Bay. So you need to have enough to get the return journey to get you back to Haast, where there is a possibility to fill up at the self-service gas station at Haast Junction. Our finding was you needed to have a card. There was no person there to be able to help you if you only had cash money, so something to keep in mind. Now, as we finally emerge from the bush and come around the coastline, we can see ahead of us there to the right the Jackson Bay itself, and you'll notice that there is a jetty pushing out from the land end up there. That's about where the road terminates. A little settlement up there. I think there's a population, last I saw, just over 30 people, 39 people perhaps in Jackson Bay and parts thereof, so very, very small resident population. We spent about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so up here, having a wander around, getting some photos taken, chatting to a few of the locals. My wife went out on the jetty, had a bit of a walk. We took bunches of photos all over the place, and it didn't take too much longer before the sandflies discovered us. Fresh tasty blood, thought we'd start feasting, so it was time for us to hit the road. So we settled up, got back on the road and headed out, and now we're going to show you the return journey and a few different things we didn't get to see on the way through. Now, one of the things that I didn't show you on the way here was just at the top end of the coast. As we came inside of the water, we did come across some roadworks, and they were fairly extensive. I think there might have been some slips here during some recent poor weather, and the roads were on a couple of like corner sections around the coast were pretty well chopped up, so there was a lot of metal there, and they were working on it with well, there was no men in evidence working, so typical roadworks in New Zealand, a few road cones and a lot of metal, so we had to negotiate our way around this. It wasn't too much of a problem, but yeah, not ideal conditions. Now this was February, so maybe they've already fixed this, completed it, not sure. Yeah, and completed, yeah, maybe not. Maybe they do things differently on the west coast, more efficiently, I'm not sure. But certainly if this was an Auckland roading situation, there would be about 75% more traffic cones, and it would be, by the looks of the sections road we come through, you've got to look over these huge potholes here, don't know how deep they are. Yeah, this would be without any doubt a 6 to 9 month project. Anyway, once clear of the roadworks, we had to get past a little truck that was offloading stuff on the jetty back there. Good luck, boys. See you later. And now we're just catching up with the rest of the crew who managed to get past those fellas a little bit earlier down the road. Now, it might have seemed a little harsh in my judgment before when I first introduced you to the road and said, yeah, it's pretty rough. Well, it actually is. It was the bumpiest ride that we've had, even coming all the way down from Auckland. This little stretch, 50k each way, was the bumpiest piece of road we'd experienced, coming all the way down the North Island, down the east coast, across Arthur's Pass, all the way down to Haast. This was the bumpiest of them all, so there is that. But having said that, I'm grateful it was sealed all the way. That's apart from that little roadwork section, but what can you do? So yeah, maybe I'm just grumbling and getting a bit soft to my old age. Anyway, one thing I can't take away from this road is it's an absolutely attractive road to ride. Very, very scenic, with a bush canopy kind of running for great stretches of it. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm really glad we came down this road there and back to take a look. It would be a shame to be so close and not actually do that, because it's not often you get the chance, right? So you've got to take your chances when you can and just enjoy every moment. Grab it with both hands, and that's exactly what we did. Now we're on our way back now to Haast. We checked in earlier at the Heritage Park Motel. It's walking distance just to the nearby pub, the Hard Antler, and they do some good meals there. We've eaten there before. Never stayed the night at the Heritage Park, but it's the first time for everything. Certainly its location is bang on, right alongside the hotel. And yeah, Haast, it's also very sparsely populated. I think in total Haast area has just over 300 people and resident population. I don't know if that includes the 30 odd people that are supposed to be living up Jackson Bay, but whichever way you look at it, it's a pretty remote and small community, so happy to be here and, you know, in some small way contribute to their livelihoods by staying the night, by having a meal and having some refreshments. So yeah, good luck to them all. Now this brings our journey to a close as we return to Marks Road in the Heritage Park. We're pulling in at the rear side of the motel now. You can see the bikes parked right outside the unit, so that's where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Take care out there, ride safe. See you in the next one.